Hi everyone. I extend a warm greetings to each and every one of you. You're welcome to this special edition of our Facebook live discussion. Today we're going to have a very interesting topic for our discussion, a topic that is of a great relevance to a lot of you on this platform, especially people who are not perhaps interested in using education to enter Canada, those of you who are not also interested in applying for jobs and coming to Canada on a work permit. Now, visiting another country can be a fulfilling experience, either for a tourism, for family reunions, or for business purposes. So today, I'm going to shed light on how to apply for visit visa and how to use visit visa to apply for a study permit from inside Canada. I've had a lot of emails. People sent me WhatsApp messages that their friends, their agents told them that they can actually apply for visit visa, use the visit visa to enter Canada. Then they can use the visit visa while they are inside Canada to apply for a study permit. I think that has actually necessitated the need for this important discussion today. Now, as I've already indicated, to come to Canada on a visit visa actually has three dimensions of that. You can come to Canada to come and visit your family. You can come to Canada to maybe for a tourist purposes. There are a lot of tourist centers in Canada. We have about 15 tourist centers in Canada. Great ones. Great tourist centers. You can decide to come and visit those areas. Maybe, or you are on vacation. You can decide to just come and have fun, visit the Niagara Falls. You can visit the CN Tower and all other places in Canada, just as a way of relaxing your nerves and to just have a feel of the interesting places in Canada. Or you can also come to Canada to come and transact your businesses here. You are somebody who has a business here, or you are somebody who wants to come and set up a company. You want to come and buy certain things and maybe export to your home country. You can also come using the visit visa. You see, so for tourist purposes, for business purposes, and to visit your family. Maybe if your wife is studying in Canada, you can come and visit her. Or if your husband is studying in Canada, you can come and visit your husband. You see, or if you are studying here, your mom or your dad can equally come and visit you. You see, so these are the three dimensions of this in applying for a visit visa. Now, so if you apply for visit visa, you actually going to be given that visa. They're going to stamp in your passport for you. That's official document that will actually allow you to enter Canada. Now, if you are given a visit visa, you can't stay in Canada more than 6 months. You can stay in Canada within 6 months and you have to leave Canada, because that visa doesn't really give you the opportunity to temporarily stay in Canada. You see, so that is it. Now, so if you have a business here, the processes of applying seems to be a bit different from if you have a family here. Now, let's talk briefly about having a family here. If you have a family member in Canada who wants you to visit Canada, that family member has to actually give you a letter of invitation. That letter clearly states that the family member who is in Canada is actually asking you to visit him or her. Now, in writing that letter of invitation to you, there are certain relevant information that must be stated in the invitation letter, because you're going to use that invitation letter together with other documents to apply for your visa. You see that? So certain key informations must be in the visa. In the visit this letter. For example, if I'm going to invite you, if I'm the one inviting you, there are informations that I must include in the letter about myself. Number one, my name has to be in the letter. My date of birth must be in the letter. My address in Canada must be in the letter. My phone number in Canada must be in the letter. My status in Canada, if I say status, you are a permanent resident, you are a citizen, maybe you are on a study permit, you are on a visit, you are on study permit, you are on work permit. We need to state that down. We also need to give you a document, the document that actually proves our status in Canada. Now, the job I do, my job title must also be in what? In the letter. You see that? Good. Now, if there is any other document that really proves the relationship I have with you, I need to give that document to you. You see, I must also include in the letter, if where you are going to stay, where you'll be staying, and who will be paying your bills. If you are going to stay with me, I must state it in the letter. If you are going to stay in a hotel, it needs to be stated there who will be paying for your expenses or who will pay for your bills whilst in Canada. I need to state this thing clearly in the letter. Now, the person whom you are sending the letter to, the invitation letter, if I'm the one writing and I'm sending it to, let me see who is online. So good. If I'm going to send it to, if I'm sending it to Queen Carleen, or I'm sending it to my PRO, Della Gifty, if I'm going to send the invitation letter to a PRO or Queen Carleen, then I need to include their names, the date of birth, the phone number. If the person lives in Ghana, you need to include the person's phone number in Ghana. The person's residential address must be included. The purpose of the person's visit. What are you coming to do in Canada? The purpose for which you are coming to Canada, I need to state it. You are coming to visit me as a family, or you are coming to visit me as your husband, or you are coming to Canada for us to have some personal discussions or whatsoever. So I clearly need to state that in the letter. You see? Now, I can also state what you have been doing in Ghana, the duration for which you are coming to stay. So these are certain relevant things that I need to include in the letter. You see? Now, I also need to state in the letter the duration you are coming to stay in Canada. Are you coming to stay for 1 month, 2 months, 3 months? Mind you, I've already stated that on a visit visa, you can't stay in Canada more than 6 months. So if the person is going to state the duration of your stay in Canada, you must be mindful that the duration should not exceed 6 months. You get that? Now, so once I've given this letter to you, which is the invitation letter, then you are going to use this letter with other documents to apply for the visit visa. You should know that you need a criminal check. You need to do a police report, as we normally call, which is normally called a criminal check. You need to do a criminal check indicating that you haven't committed any offense, you are not a criminal, you've not abused kids, you've not been in prison before. The police report actually shows that. Now, you also need to add your employment document. If you work as a teacher, if you work as a nurse or whatsoever, you need to include your appointment letter. Now, if you are coming for a vacation, then it means that you need to take your leave letter from your workplace, nurse, the doctor, or whatsoever. You need to include your leave letter. Now, your superior or your boss or your employer can actually also write an introductory letter to you to introduce you to the embassy that this person has actually been granted a leave and he or she is going to Canada for a vacation. You see? Now, if you also want to come to Canada for a medication, for a treatment, we have some great hospitals here. So if you are somebody who is sick and you want to come to Canada for treatment, you can actually apply for what? A visit visa. Now, in that case, maybe if your facility in Ghana has actually referred you, then you need that referral letter as a document to attach to other documents to apply. Now, I've already spoken about the payment of bills here. So if the person who is coming will be paying the bill, or the person who is already in the country will be paying the bill, it's also a different thing. But you also need a bank statement to show the proof of your living expenses. If you are coming to stay in a hotel, the hotel bills and all those things, so you need to actually prove that. Then you submit the application. Now, mostly because people who are coming to stay temporarily in Canada on visit visa cannot stay more than 6 months, you don't need a medical test. You don't need a medical report because you're coming for a short visit. People who are coming to stay in Canada for a long time, 1 year, 2 years and above, they need a medical report. Now, there are certain instances that they may actually ask you to present a medical report that can be determined by the IRCC, that is the Immigration Refugee Commission of Canada. They have that authority to ask you to go and do your medicals. It's their sole responsibility. They can or not. Now, so these are the things, you get that. So once you have gotten all these things, then you can now apply for your visit visa. Then you start your journey and come to Canada. When you reach the port of entry, that is when once you are you get down to any of the international airports in Canada, then you need to go through the immigration processes. Then finally they stamp your visa. The border officials at the airport have the responsibility, has the mandate to determine when you have to leave Canada. They can give you 3 weeks, they can give you 6 months, that is the maximum duration you can stay, or they can actually give you even 2 months, depending on them, based on the interaction they are going to have with you. You should be mindful that when you are giving a visa from your country to maybe come to Canada on a visit or any other purpose, that doesn't mean that you are actually giving 100% assurance to enter the country. The visa officer or the border officials have that responsibility. When they have an interrogation with you, if they feel that the purpose for which you've been granted visa doesn't really show what you are coming to do, they have that responsibility to ask you to go back. They have that. So the border officials will stamp your passport and indicate when you have to leave. Based on the information I even got from the IRCC, certain border officials may not even stamp it. So once they have not stamped it, means that you can stay in the country until your visa expires. I've checked that on the IRCC portals. That may be on some rare occasions, but it's possible when the grace finds you. That is different, altogether. You see, so this is it now. So come and stay in the country and go. Let me state that if you are coming perhaps on your own for a business purposes or for a tourist purposes, before you apply for the visa, you must already book a hotel you are coming to stay. You must book a hotel that, if I'm coming to Toronto and I'll be staying in Hotel A or Hotel B. Then after booking for the hotel, they'll give you the booking documents. You need to use the documents attached to other documents to apply for the visa, to indicate to the visa officer that I'm coming to Toronto and this is the hotel I'll be staying at. You must pay. Some of the hotels will ask you to pay before the booking document will be given to you. But there are certain hotels, for example, if you go to booking.com, most of the hotels there, they will tell you you book, but they'll ask you not to pay. You only pay upon arrival. If you come to Canada, you go to the hotel, then you need to go and inspect the room, check all the facilities they have. If you are convinced, then you can now pay for the room. And hotel rooms are highly expensive here. They are 5 stars hotels and all those things. They are highly expensive. The minimum you may get is perhaps maybe $50. That would be in some small villages. But most of the cities, the minimum you can get maybe about $80 to $100 per night. So you need to book that. Then you attach the document to it. You book depending on number of days you are coming to stay. Attach the document to it. Apply for the visa. Now, if you are coming for a tourist purpose or for a tourist purposes, you must also indicate your itineraries, the various movements that you'll be making, the various sites that you'll be visiting. So you must state it. If I arrive today, then I have maybe 2 days time I'll be resting. The next day, which will be Monday, I'll be going to visit the CN Tower to see how beautiful it is. The CN Tower is actually the tallest building in Ontario. It's a nice building. When the summer comes, I'll be making some rounds. We'll be going to some of these sites. I'll take you guys along. We'll show you how beautiful the places are. Or you can visit the Niagara Falls. The Niagara Falls is also in Ontario. Some beautiful places. Actually on this in Ghana, Canada and US border, just close to that place. Nice place. Go and see it, how beautiful the place. So you must state your itinerary, the various tourist sites that you're actually going to visit. That must be stated if you are coming for a tourist purposes. You get that? Good. Now, sorry for that. Now, if I've been having a lot of messages from people saying that I actually had a discussion with one friend in Nigeria who actually told me that he had he already applied for a visit visa to enter Canada. And I asked him, do you have any family member here? He said no. Have you ever visited Canada? He said no. Then I told him that, hey, my guy, you have enough money? He said no. Okay, so I asked him, what exactly are you coming to do? He told me sincerely, because we are friends, we are brothers, he told me sincerely that he just wants to come to Canada and use the opportunity to stay, because his agents actually told him that he can use the visit visa to enter Canada, then use that to apply for school. I said, oh, seriously? I told him I'm not a visa agent, but based on what I know from my personal experiences, it's only some few people who can actually use their visit visa to apply for study permit. I've explained that to him and I said, okay, fine, he can use it and see. So we have this general perspective going that, or this general view going that you can use your visit visa to apply for school. Now, I want to take you through certain things. I've checked something on the IRCC portals, which I will explain to you in a jiffy. If you want to apply for a study permit, there are 2 ways of doing that. The first one is to apply for a study permit outside Canada. So those of us, or those of you who are outside Canada, now you're in Nigeria, you are in Ghana, Senegal, Cameroon, Tanzania, Morocco, those of you who would like to come to Canada, you are applying for a study permit outside of Canada. That is the first group. The second group of people who can also apply for a study visa is people who apply from what? Inside Canada. They are people who are already in Canada. So those people are actually in Canada. And they also want to apply for study permit. They want to study. So if you are on a visit visa to Canada, it means you'll be applying for a study permit or a study visa from inside Canada. You see? Let me dehydrate the body. Good. So it means that you're going to apply for the visit, the study permit from inside Canada. Now, to be able to apply for a study permit inside Canada, there are certain conditions or requirements that you must meet. If you meet those requirements, then it means that you can now go ahead and apply. But if you don't miss it, then it means that you are somebody who cannot apply for a study permit from inside Canada. Now, the first group of people who can actually apply for a study permit from inside Canada are: one, people who are Ukraine nationals. You are from a Ukraine, you are a Ukraine national, or you are a family member of what? A Ukrainian family. Then you can apply for what? A study permit from inside Canada. For example, based on what is happening in Ukraine, you've applied for a visit visa from Ukraine and you are here, or you are a Ukrainian national in another country, but you've used your visit visa to come to Canada. Based on what is happening there, you do not want to go. You can use that visit visa to apply for what? A study permit from what? Inside Canada. The first group of people, you can check this on the IRCC portal. The second group of people who can apply for a study permit from inside Canada are: number one, those whose spouses are on a those whose spouses are on a study permit. You understand that? So if somebody is a student in Canada, that person's, if a man is in Canada and the wife uses a visit visa to come to Canada, if the wife doesn't want to go back, the wife can now use a visit visa to apply for a study permit because the husband is in Canada. Or if somebody's wife is in Canada and that person moves from his country to Canada on a visit visa, once the person landed in Canada, that man doesn't want to go back, the man can use his visit visa to apply for what? A study permit, because the wife is in Canada. The wife is actually studying, or somebody whose husband or wife is on a work permit. If your wife is on work permit and you are here on a visit visa, you can, based on your wife's decision, to apply for a study permit. Or your husband is here, you visit him on a visit visa, you can base it on that to apply for what? A study permit. Now, we all know that most of our universities have these exchange programs. For example, you are somebody who is at the University of Ghana, maybe level 200. Maybe University of Ghana has an exchange program with a particular university here. I don't know that. But let me just say University of Ghana has an exchange. I'm only saying if. This is an example I'm going to cite, so nobody should think that what I'm going to say is true. I do not know this for a fact. Maybe let me use University of Cape Coast, the best university in Ghana. You know that University of Cape Coast has an exchange program with University of Toronto. Now, so you have actually applied for that exchange program and you move from Ghana to University of Toronto to come and study for 1 year. If your 1 year duration has elapsed and you need to go back to Ghana to continue your program, I say no, based on how quality the educational system is in Canada, you don't want to go back. You can base it on that exchange program that you have done to actually apply for a study permit from inside Canada. You see, now that is acceptable. Now, maybe you are somebody who is on a work permit here. Your work permit is about expiring. Now, your employer in Canada doesn't want to extend it for you. Your employer in Canada says they are not willing to work with you, or your contract has ended. You need to go back to your home country. You can actually, based on that work permit you have, to use the work permit to apply for a study permit. That is also acceptable. Or, I'm a good footballer, so I'm in Black Side JC. Maybe your husband is actually playing for any of the Canadian teams, maybe Toronto Stars, or you have some football teams here. Your husband plays for any of those football teams. You see, so you visited your husband, but you don't want to go back. You can base it on the fact that your husband actually is studying. Your husband is actually playing for one of the football teams here, so you don't want to go back, you want to study. You can base it on that to study. You see that? Good. So these are some of the ways that we can base on to be able to apply for a study permit from inside Canada. You see, even if your husband or your wife is in Canada and you have even used a study permit to a visit visa to enter Canada, you can actually even use that visit visa. You can convert it to a work permit because your husband or your wife is here. You can convert that into a work permit and even stay and work. They'll give you an open work permit. You see, so these are some of the things. So the best advice I'll give is that for those whose agents are giving them a lot of fake information or information that are not factual, our advice all those who want to come to Canada, that all those who want to use visit visa to enter Canada, make sure you have a family member here, because there are certain laws here that may go against you. Some of the laws here may go against you. Number one, if you come to Canada on a visit visa, nobody will be willing to rent to you. Most of the landlords would like to know your status in Canada. Are you on study permit? Are you on work permit? Are you a permanent resident, or are you a citizen? Are you a refugee? They would like to know your status because rent can be very expensive. So if you are on a visit visa which doesn't allow you to work, so how are you going to pay the rent? They may not be willing to rent to you. They won't rent. Most landlords will not rent to you unless you know somebody who has a temporary or permanent status in Canada who will come and rent for you. Number two, no employer will be willing to employ you. You can't work. Nobody will employ you. The only way you can work, that one is even illegal. It's if somebody who has a status in Canada will actually get a work for you, you do it. You don't know anybody, so who will do that for you? Would you meet somebody by the roadside and ask the person to just go and get work for you? No. You will not be able to open a bank account because you do not have a status here. You are on a visit visa. You can't stay in Canada for a long time. You see that? You can't get a credit card. There are so many things you can't do. You can't even buy a SIM card. Nobody will sell a SIM card for you because you can't stay in the country. They won't sell a phone line for you. There are a lot of things you can do. So the best advice I'll give is that if you are somebody who doesn't have money, and you want to come here, make sure you have a family member here. That will be the best way you can adopt to come. Have a family member in Canada before you come. But if you don't have a family member, you come and struggle. You come and struggle. I do not know if some of you are aware, in last year, December 2023, somebody from Africa actually died here because the person came on a visit visa. The person cannot afford to even stay at the hotels. Nobody was willing to rent to him, and then they were going to do some things. Then they were actually sleeping under a tent. You know, we are in winter. The winter is serious. Let me check the temperature right now. The temperature is around negative 5 or so. That is the temperature right now, -5. Very cold. You are sleeping under a tent. That will destroy you, my guy. You die. Somebody died in a tent. So if you don't have a family member, Charlie, you must be very careful, especially if you are somebody who doesn't have enough money. Make sure you have enough money before you come. You see that? That is the advice I'll give you. If you are coming for a tourist purposes, that is good. You can just come and chill, come and have fun and go back. Good. You are coming for a business purposes, Charlie, come and do your businesses and go. Guys, oh, was that my lady? So guys, those are some things that I wanted to bring to your attention concerning the visits, how to use the visit visa to enter Canada and use that to apply for a study permit. Let me see if there are any questions. I answer. If there are no questions, we end it here, guys. Okay, there are questions. Yeah, Queen Kalin, I see you. Yeah, hey, my PRO, Moses. Yeah, Charlie, I see you. Evans Do, I see you. Nice tutorial, thank you. So guys, that is that. So that is what I decided to bring to your attention. Charlie, guys, if you feel that the information I've just put across is so engaging, Charlie, guys, share the link, share the video for people to have access to it and let this platform grow. Yeah, you are the only person who is going to help the platform to grow. Now, the more the platform is able to grow, the more people like the page, the more I'll feel happy and drop more engaging content. You see that? Now, maybe hopefully tomorrow, I don't know if today, hopefully tomorrow, you know, I've been dropping a lot of scholarship information, schools that are accepting application and all those things. Now, some of the information or some of the schools actually expect you to look for a supervisor before you can apply. Hopefully tomorrow we'll see how to send messages to our supervisors to be able to secure a supervisor for application for a graduate or postgraduate program. Charlie, enjoy the rest of your evening. This is your guy. This is the only Marsego. Charlie, enjoy the rest of your day. As I've been saying, you are gold in the dust. You are gold in the dust. Your stars will shine. Your stars will surely shine. Don't give up. Keep pushing. Good things don't come easily. You see that? Keep pushing. You don't necessarily need to come from a good family, from a rich family to be able to make it. Once you are somebody who is determined, once you are somebody who has a foresight, once you are somebody who is not willing to give up, Charlie, surely, day will break. Enjoy your day. Bye-bye.